Hey, I'm Willie from the Zombie Star and kind of on summer break, so I've had time. So let's see what we've been reading this week in comics. This week we caught up with Ed Bryson's last arc for his Predator series from Marvel Comics, subtitled The Last Hunt. If you can hear that, I am playing Sid Meier's Civilization in the background, so that's where that music's coming from. It's not deliberate. Predator Last Hunt concludes the third volume of Bryson's Predator, following main characters Theta and Paolo as they bring close to their over 5-year hunt of predators across the galaxy. This week we read issues number 2 in the series. More on this character in a minute. Issue number 3, probably my favorite cover, and ending volume 3 with issue number 4. Predator was in this week in comics and spoke a little bit about how Theta and Paolo have used Predator tactics and technologies and have grown into some of the most formidable threats that the Predators have ever faced. In The Last Hunt, we see Theta and Paolo take the fight to a Predator's main base or stronghold for a final showdown. We've seen Theta's and Paolo's motives evolve from brutal and mindless revenge to a drive to liberate and save the lives of countless specimens, including humans, that the Predators have been harvesting from many worlds for the purpose of pure sport. A little bit of a spoiler, so if you do want to read this and you don't want it spoiled, I would stop watching here. But in issue number, actually at the end of issue number 1, we're introduced to this character. A character whose name is John Schaefer. If Schaefer sounds familiar to you, it is because he's the brother of Dutch Schaefer from the 1987 Predator film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be honest, this kind of twist kind of threw me off, and I did have to Google John Schaefer just to see if there was any lore of him other than this comic book, and there is. In the 90s in Concrete Jungle, John Schaefer is a police officer, brother of Dutch Schaefer, and of course comes into contact with a predator. And outside of that, I could not find anything more on John Schaefer. The story of Theta and Paolo for me was compelling enough as it is. The inclusion of John Schaefer I could have done with or without it, but he does play a critical role in this narrative, and it's just pretty cool that it makes that connection to the source material, the classic Predator films. Manat Arciniega have been bringing some amazing artwork, bringing this book to life for 3 volumes, and it's just beautiful and appropriate for a Predator title. This is issue number 2, doing this out of order. 3, I got it, and issue number 4. Blade issues 9 and 10, which brings an end to the, I hope, first volume for Blade from Marvel Comics. Easily overpowered and outgunned, Blade has been on the heels of the Adana, a extremely powerful demon with the capabilities of destroying all life as we know it. In desperation, Blade has had to partner up with a roster of classic Marvel characters, as well as some unlikely villains. And in issue 10, we see Blade has to commit the unthinkable in order to even have a chance at beating the Adana, which everyone in his immediate circle understands would be impossible. I absolutely loved how this is Blade at his most vulnerable, but also his most powerful, as he is forced to tap into some of his more darker and savage abilities as a daywalker. And in that, get to see Blade use powers and abilities that I was never aware he was even capable of. As I flew through these 10 issues, it felt pretty short, and I'm hoping that this is only the end of the first volume for Blade from Marvel Comics. Casagrande and Diaz have been really great at bringing a stylized, dramatic, and intense art approach to the title, and even character models for like the Adana and Santanas, and even gothic look for the character that just works for a Blade title. Blade issue number 10 and issue number 9. Blade fans, this is really cool. First volume just ended. I'm hoping it's the first volume. That would be a good place to start for people looking for Blade content. This was cool. What If Aliens issue number 2 and issue number 3. As a fan of What If series from Marvel, I've been reading them since What If Avengers Vision had conquered the world. What they did with Aliens is really awesome, and probably one of my favorite what ifs that I think I've ever read. Usually what if issues are absurd and drastic spins on classic Marvel timelines. What If Aliens focuses on the sequel film to Alien, arguably the better of the 2 films, and suggests this main antagonist, Carter Burke, survived the disaster on LV-426, or Hadley's Hope. Out of the many reasons why this is amazing, Paul Reiser obviously lent his likeness to the character, but this is also written by Paul Reiser and his son, Leon. And this may sound completely nuts, but I can hear Paul Reiser's voice as I'm reading his dialogue in this comic book. I also do the same thing with Spawn. All I hear is Keith David. For What If issue, Aliens does give a total plausible alternate timeline that could see how Carter Burke could have escaped Hadley's Hope, and doesn't do anything to kind of disturb the timeline where we still see Ripley end up on the Desolate Planet or correctional facility that she ends up in Alien 3. Instead, we get a more focused story, obviously on the character Carter Burke, as we see the events involving him and the Weyland-Yutani Corporation after the tragedy on Hadley's Hope. And using that charm and deception that we know him for, is able to make a deal with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation that sees him living his life in a form of banishment, far enough away to where the Weyland-Yutani Corporation can still keep an eye on him, which only gives him the time to plot out his next scheme and get revenge on those who banished him, with a significant spin on his motives and kind of purpose now that gives the character a level of depth that we just didn't get in the films. Makes for a great character and a really cool story. Visually, Villanova and Nitro kind of bring back the pre-Declan Shelby series, more the Philip Kennedy, kind of more cinematic, mature look that I absolutely loved for the Kennedy series. But wouldn't be an Alien series without the blood, guts, and gore, which this has as well, and also just brought beautifully through its visuals. 8 What If Aliens issue number 3 and issue number 2 for Alien fans. This is really something special. Absolutely love it. And that is all we have for this week in comics. Let me know what you guys read. Let me know what you guys think of these if you are reading them. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you all for watching.